Maggie, 72, wakes up each morning with a cup of coffee in hand and a smile on her face, ready to greet the day. She volunteers at her local shelter, joins a weekly book club, and spends her afternoons gardening with friends. Maggie isn't just surviving, she's thriving. Many seniors struggle with loneliness, but Maggie has found a way to build deep, meaningful connections. How did she do it? You won't believe the 15 ways she made friends after 60. These simple yet powerful strategies could transform your life too. Let's explore the first one, embracing new opportunities. 1. Attending local community events. For many seniors, especially those living alone, stepping out of their comfort zone can feel daunting. However, for Eleanor, one of the most transformative steps toward building a new social life came from simply attending local community events. Initially, Eleanor was hesitant. She wasn't sure if she'd fit in with the younger crowd or if anyone would want to talk to her. She had always been a private person, and the thought of walking into a room full of strangers felt overwhelming. But as she noticed more and more advertisements for local festivals and gatherings, especially in her neighborhood, she realized this could be a perfect opportunity to reconnect with the world. Eleanor made a commitment to herself. She decided to start small, attending a weekend farmers market in her town. She didn't need to make a grand entrance. She simply strolled through the booths, taking in the fresh produce and homemade goods. After a few visits, Eleanor noticed that she began recognizing faces, others who frequented the market just as she did. Gradually, she began exchanging small pleasantries with the vendors, and before long, she was invited to join an impromptu conversation with a group of regulars about gardening tips and local events. These short interactions became a gateway to deeper connections. This initial step, though modest, sparked Eleanor's realization that participating in local events didn't just offer the chance to shop. It provided a space for emotional engagement, allowing her to connect with her community in a meaningful way. She found joy in the casual nature of these interactions, where no one expected anything beyond a shared moment of connection. In the process, Eleanor's feelings of isolation began to fade. 2. Joining social clubs or hobby groups. After attending community events, Eleanor felt inspired to push herself further by joining a social club. She had always loved reading, but had never found a regular space to discuss books in depth. With a bit of encouragement from new acquaintances she'd met at the market, Eleanor found a local book club, and with a flutter of nervousness, attended her first meeting. The first meeting was a mix of excitement and self-doubt. She was unsure whether she could contribute much to the discussion, having been out of the social loop for so long. Over the next few months, Eleanor became a regular member of the book club. As she engaged more deeply in conversations, she found herself not only reconnecting with her love for literature, but also making new friends who shared similar interests. The connections felt organic and authentic. The group didn't just discuss books. They shared life experiences, connected on common values, and supported one another. Eleanor learned that finding a hobby or interest to share with others didn't just serve as an icebreaker. It created a deeper emotional bond that transcended casual acquaintances. Through her participation in the club, Eleanor discovered a renewed sense of purpose. The regular meetings provided structure to her week and gave her something to look forward to. Slowly but surely, these social interactions were woven into the fabric of her life, and she began forming lasting friendships based on shared experiences. These friendships weren't built on necessity or obligation. They were based on mutual respect, common passions, and a deep emotional connection. 3. Volunteering for a cause. You care about the most profound transformation in Eleanor's social life came when she began volunteering for a cause close to her heart. She had always cared deeply about the well-being of others, especially the elderly. But it wasn't until she took the step to get involved that she realized the true power of volunteer work in building relationships. At first, Eleanor wasn't sure where to start. She considered volunteering at a local senior center or animal shelter, but it wasn't until she attended a local fundraising event for a food bank that she realized the impact she could have. Eleanor started volunteering at the food bank on a weekly basis. Her role wasn't always glamorous, sorting canned goods, packing boxes, or helping with logistics. But what mattered most was the feeling of being part of something greater than herself. At first, she kept to herself, unsure of how to connect with the other volunteers. But after a few weeks, she began forming friendships with people who were just as passionate about giving back. Conversations about the importance of service and supporting the community turned into deeper exchanges about personal stories, struggles, and triumphs. Eleanor realized that these relationships were grounded in shared values and a sense of purpose. Through volunteering, Eleanor also learned valuable lessons about empathy and connection. She witnessed firsthand the impact of kindness and generosity, not just in the people she helped, but in the bonds she forged with her fellow volunteers. These friendships grew naturally as they shared meaningful experiences and collaborated on projects that made a tangible difference in their community. Volunteering not only filled Eleanor's heart with joy, it also gave her the chance to connect with like-minded people who shared her values and brought new perspectives into her life. 4. Taking a class or workshop. After her initial experiences with community events and social clubs, Eleanor's journey toward deeper connections continued by expanding her horizons with new learning experiences. This was a logical next step for her, engaging her mind in new ways while fostering more opportunities for social interaction. Eleanor had always enjoyed learning, but after years of retirement, she hadn't pursued any formal education. However, she began to feel that her intellectual curiosity was still very much alive, and this realization pushed her toward finding an adult education class that piqued her interest. Eleanor decided to take a creative writing class at a local community center. At first, she wasn't sure how this would translate into making new friends, but she soon found herself in a room full of like-minded individuals who were also eager to engage with their creativity. What started as a personal challenge soon became a social event, as she bonded with fellow students over shared assignments, literary tastes, and the vulnerability of sharing their work. Through this class, Eleanor not only reignited her passion for writing, but also found herself deeply connected with others who valued intellectual growth and creativity. It was a powerful reminder that learning isn't just about gaining knowledge, it's about forming bonds with others who share that journey. 5. Reaching out to neighbors. As Eleanor continued to embrace opportunities for social engagement, she also began to place a greater emphasis on the people who lived right next door. For too long, her relationships with her neighbors had been limited to quick exchanges of pleasantries during brief encounters. While she enjoyed the comfort of her privacy, Eleanor recognized that reaching out to her neighbors could be an incredible opportunity to build a more consistent social network. These were people who shared the same physical space, her community, and there was no better time than now to deepen those connections. At first, Eleanor felt unsure of how to begin. Should she invite them over for coffee or wait for a more natural opportunity to arise? She started by offering help with small tasks, such as taking in a neighbor's mail or offering a hand with groceries. These small gestures were the opening she needed. Over time, casual conversations became more frequent, and before long, Eleanor was invited to a neighborhood gathering. What was initially an awkward experience for her, attending a party where she didn't know anyone, quickly turned into an evening full of meaningful conversations. She realized that by simply being present and open, She had the opportunity to connect with others who were also seeking community. The relationships with her neighbors grew from these simple actions, and Eleanor learned that the most powerful way to connect is often through the small, everyday moments. 6. Starting a coffee group or meetup. Another impactful way that Eleanor deepened her connections was by creating an opportunity for others to come together. She realized that many people, just like her, were craving more chances to socialize, but the structure wasn't always in place. This led her to start a small coffee group in her neighborhood, a casual, no-pressure environment where people could come together once a week to chat, enjoy coffee, and build friendships. The idea began when she overheard a conversation at the local cafe about how hard it was for seniors to find places to meet new people. It wasn't that the desire to connect wasn't there. It was that there simply weren't enough organized spaces for this to happen. Eleanor decided to fill that gap by inviting a few neighbors she had recently become friendly with. She started small, with just 4 people, gathering on a regular basis for coffee and conversation. As the weeks went by, word spread, and more people began to join. What was initially a small group quickly grew into a lively social event where everyone shared stories, offered advice, and discussed everything from books to gardening to local events. Eleanor's role in facilitating this gathering gave her a sense of purpose, and she felt joy in watching how it positively impacted others. The coffee group didn't just foster new friendships. It became a vital part of Eleanor's routine and a consistent source of connection and emotional fulfillment. 7. Joining online social platforms. Building on the solid foundation of real-world interactions, Eleanor soon realized the power of connecting with others beyond her local community. As her confidence grew through volunteering, attending social clubs, and organizing meetups, she began to explore new avenues for making connections in the digital realm. Although she had initially been wary of technology, Eleanor recognized the growing significance of online platforms that catered to seniors looking to make friends. These platforms offered an accessible and convenient way to meet others with similar interests, no matter where they lived. Eleanor's first step was joining Facebook and Nextdoor, 2 platforms where many seniors connect. Initially, she was unsure how these online spaces worked, or if they would be helpful in fostering meaningful friendships. However, as she navigated through groups specifically designed for people over 60, she began to see how these platforms could serve as a gateway for genuine social connections. Through group discussions, she exchanged ideas on local events, shared life experiences, and found people who had similar hobbies and passions. It was easier to join conversations in these spaces because everyone was there for the same purpose: meeting new people, sharing experiences, and building relationships. Soon after, Eleanor also joined Meetup, an app that allows people to create and attend events based on shared interests. Here, she discovered various events happening both online and in person, ranging from cooking classes to nature walks. She joined a local hiking group, which, although initially intimidating, turned out to be an excellent way to meet others who shared her love for outdoor activities. These online platforms helped Eleanor expand her circle beyond her immediate area, opening doors to friendships she would not have encountered otherwise. 8. Reconnecting with old friends. One of the most rewarding phases of Eleanor's journey was reconnecting with old friends. As she made new connections, she began to reflect on the friendships she had let slip away over the years. Life's demands, work, family, and other commitments had caused her to lose touch with some people who had once been central to her life. Eleanor decided it was time to reach out, to rekindle relationships that had once brought her joy and meaning. Her first step was reconnecting with her childhood friend, Margaret, whom she hadn't spoken to in decades. It was nerve-wracking at first. She wasn't sure how Margaret would respond, or if they would have anything in common anymore. But when Margaret picked up the phone and the conversation flowed easily, Eleanor realized that some friendships stand the test of time. They began catching up on each other's lives, sharing stories of their families, careers, and the paths they had taken. Margaret had also gone through significant life changes, and it felt like no time had passed at all. Eleanor quickly realized that rekindling old friendships wasn't about picking up where they left off. It was about embracing the new stages of each other's lives and enjoying the shared history that connected them. Reconnecting with Margaret encouraged Eleanor to reach out to others from her past. Friends she had lost touch with over the years due to relocations, changes in interests, or life's inevitable twists and turns. Some friends had moved away, but social media made it easier to find them and rekindle those connections. Through Facebook, Eleanor reconnected with several former co-workers, college friends, and distant relatives. They reminisced about old times, exchanged updates on their lives, and even made plans to meet in person. Eleanor discovered that reconnecting with old friends required vulnerability. She had to let go of any guilt or fear of what might have been lost. When she embraced the possibility that friendships evolve, she allowed herself to rebuild bridges that had once seemed too far apart. These reconnections not only brought joy and laughter back into her life, but also deepened her sense of belonging and emotional fulfillment. 9. Attending religious services or spiritual gatherings. For Eleanor, the emotional growth she experienced through volunteering and reconnecting with old friends created a strong foundation for a deeper connection to spirituality and community. After years of attending religious services sporadically, Eleanor decided to make them a more regular part of her routine. She realized that spiritual gatherings offered not just a sense of peace and belonging, but also an opportunity to form meaningful relationships based on shared values and beliefs. Eleanor began attending a local church on Sundays, not just for the religious experience, but also for the sense of community it offered. She found that, like her other activities, church provided her with a space to connect with others who were also seeking emotional fulfillment and purpose. What began as a way to enrich her spiritual life soon became an important part of her social network. The more she attended, the more she became familiar with fellow churchgoers, and before long, she was invited to join small groups where members gathered to share stories, pray, and support each other through difficult times. Attending religious services became more than just a weekly habit for Eleanor. It became a powerful tool for building relationships. Through shared faith, she found that her emotional clarity and strength were deepened, and the connections she formed were grounded in a sense of mutual respect and compassion. These gatherings allowed Eleanor to open up emotionally, speak about her struggles, and receive support from others who understood her journey. They were a reminder that spiritual communities often create bonds that go beyond surface-level interactions. They offer a sense of shared purpose and mutual care. 10. Participating in fitness activities. Having already cultivated strong relationships through volunteering, spiritual gatherings, and reconnecting with old friends, Eleanor realized the next step in her journey was to focus on her physical well-being. She had become emotionally connected to her community, but now she needed to integrate habits that would support her long-term health and energy levels. As Eleanor continued attending the walking group, she began to notice physical improvements. She felt more energized, her mood improved, and she gained a sense of achievement with every step she took. The social aspect was just as fulfilling. The group became an extension of her circle of friends, and the walks often included stops at local cafes where members would chat over coffee. These informal meetups helped Eleanor strengthen existing friendships and make new ones. It was in these moments that she realized fitness wasn't just about the physical benefits. It was a powerful way to enhance emotional well-being and deepen relationships with others. In time, Eleanor also began to participate in a local yoga class, a practice she had always been curious about, but hesitant to try. The class was filled with seniors, which made her feel more comfortable. Yoga provided Eleanor with a calming mental space and allowed her to develop greater flexibility and strength. The sense of community within the class was palpable, and over time, Eleanor found herself forming new friendships with fellow participants who, like her, were dedicated to improving their health. She discovered that fitness activities not only boosted her physical strength, but also supported her mental clarity and emotional resilience, helping her feel empowered and connected. 11. Using technology to meet new people. As Eleanor's journey continued, she realized the power of technology in expanding her social network even further. While her in-person connections were strong, she wanted to tap into the vast opportunities that technology provided for meeting new people from all walks of life. At first, Eleanor felt intimidated by the digital world. She wasn't sure if she could handle the complexities of dating apps or social media platforms. Eleanor's first venture into online socialization was using Bumble BFF, an app designed to help people find friends rather than romantic partners. Though skeptical at first, she quickly realized how intuitive and user-friendly the app was. Additionally, Eleanor explored platforms like Senior Match and AARP's online community, which catered specifically to older adults seeking to make new friends. These platforms allowed her to engage in group discussions, share advice, and connect with individuals who had similar life experiences. Eleanor found that online friendships often provided a sense of immediate connection and understanding. The digital platforms also allowed her to keep in touch with friends across the country, which made her feel even more connected to the world beyond her local community. By using these tools, Eleanor was able to meet people from different backgrounds and experiences, expanding her circle beyond what she had previously thought possible. Her social world was no longer confined to physical boundaries. Technology had opened doors to new relationships that enriched her emotional and social life in ways she hadn't imagined. Eleanor learned that embracing technology wasn't about replacing face-to-face interactions, but about enhancing and expanding her opportunities to connect with others. 12. Hosting dinner parties or potlucks. After experiencing the emotional rewards of joining social groups and expanding her network both in person and online, Eleanor wanted to take her relationships to the next level. She realized that she could be the catalyst for creating new connections by hosting her own gatherings. Dinner parties and potluck meals had always been part of her family traditions, and she decided to bring this practice back into her life to further enrich her friendships. Eleanor began hosting small dinner parties, inviting her closest friends and neighbors to join her for home-cooked meals. She took pleasure in preparing dishes from her favorite recipes, but more importantly, she cherished the opportunity to bring people together around her table. These meals became a source of joy, laughter, and connection. As the dinner parties grew in popularity, Eleanor's circle expanded, and new faces were invited to join. The atmosphere was always warm, with everyone contributing a dish, sharing stories, and enjoying the companionship that came with being surrounded by others. Eleanor quickly realized that hosting potluck dinners was a powerful way to create a sense of community. People from different walks of life, with different interests and backgrounds, would gather to share a meal and connect. She made sure to foster an inclusive environment where everyone felt comfortable and appreciated. 13. Traveling with a group. With the foundational habits of community involvement, fitness, and personal connections in place, Eleanor's transformation was reaching new heights. Her life had become full of joy, meaningful friendships, and personal growth. Now, as she looked forward, Eleanor recognized that traveling could offer a unique opportunity to continue expanding her horizons. Traveling with a group would not only allow her to explore new places, but also create even more opportunities for social connection and personal discovery. The group dynamic was perfect for meeting new people. Each day's activities, from guided tours to shared meals, provided ample opportunities for conversation and camaraderie. Eleanor found that she was able to bond with others over shared experiences, from sightseeing to navigating unfamiliar cities together. These travel experiences deepened the friendships she had already formed and opened the door to new, lasting connections. As the group traveled together, they shared personal stories, laughter, and unforgettable memories, making the experience much richer than she had initially anticipated. Traveling in a group not only allowed Eleanor to explore the world, but also gave her a new sense of purpose and excitement in her social life. Traveling with others also brought Eleanor closer to the idea of adventure and discovery in every aspect of her life. She realized that travel wasn't just about the destinations. It was about the connections made along the way. Each trip provided her with new perspectives, not just about the places she visited, but also about the people she met. Whether it was learning new cultures or simply enjoying the shared joy of a beautiful sunset with a group of friends, these trips offered Eleanor a renewed sense of community and purpose. This habit brought Eleanor even more joy, allowing her to continue building relationships and embracing new experiences. 14. Inviting someone to do something new. Eleanor's journey had already been filled with learning, growing, and connecting with others, but she recognized that inviting someone to join her in new activities was an essential next step. She had become accustomed to reaching out, making new connections, and nurturing her relationships, but now she wanted to extend her hand even further. One of the most impactful experiences Eleanor had was when she invited a new friend from her walking group to join her for a pottery class. It was something Eleanor had always wanted to try, but had never taken the step to actually do. Inviting her friend to join her made it feel less intimidating. As they shared the experience of learning a new craft together, Eleanor not only bonded with her friend over the class itself, but also created an opportunity to learn, grow, and laugh together in a fresh context. This simple invitation sparked a sense of excitement and novelty in their friendship. Eleanor soon realized that extending invitations to others wasn't just about making plans. It was about deepening relationships by giving others the opportunity to experience new things. These invitations became a way to keep her social life dynamic and fresh, as she invited friends to join her for everything from cooking classes to weekend trips to museum visits. By encouraging others to try new things, Eleanor found that she not only strengthened her connections, but also created new, enriching experiences that brought everyone closer together. 15. Embracing vulnerability. At first, Eleanor hesitated. She was used to keeping her emotions private, especially when it came to sharing personal stories or past experiences. But as she grew closer to her friends, she realized that true connection comes when people allow themselves to be seen and understood. She started opening up more to the people she trusted, sharing stories about her life, her struggles, and her victories. These conversations didn't always have a happy ending or a neat resolution, but they were real. They allowed Eleanor to form even deeper connections with those around her, as she learned that it wasn't about having everything figured out. It was about being authentic and vulnerable with others. One of the most powerful moments in Eleanor's journey occurred when she shared her experiences of loss with a close friend from her book club. For years, Eleanor had kept her grief to herself, afraid that others wouldn't understand. But when she finally opened up, she was met with compassion and empathy, which deepened her connection with that friend. This experience helped Eleanor realize that vulnerability creates space for others to be open as well, fostering mutual trust and emotional depth in relationships. Eleanor's journey shows that it's never too late to build lasting connections and embrace new experiences. By adopting these habits, she transformed her life with purpose, joy, and fulfillment. Now, it's your turn. Step into your own journey, confident and ready to connect, grow, and thrive.